pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
They are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. No vax, no problem. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making...
I think everybody with sense just feels bad for RFK, as they did the same thing to the Secretary of Defense. I'll never understand why the Democrats chose this brand of angry nagging lady, aka the Demokaren, as almost the official mascot of liberal projection, because all these attempted gotcha moments seem to immediately backfire. But before we get to that, subscribe and like if you haven't already for more concise, lighthearted clips like this.
And I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
you're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah,
you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. He may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, and then nobody gets vaccine.
Now, she would have a point. I also don't think we want our health secretary making political decisions based on what makes them the most amount of money. But that just exposed her for being one of the top recipients of cash from those same companies she seems so desperate to protect. Now, the people that follow politics would know this, but the average normie NPC might not. So for her to bring up this as a reason they should mindlessly recite as to why RFK should be rejected only reminds the people that they're not arguing over public health, they're arguing over the money. As Senator Bernie Sanders has received over $1 million from them, but is now standing on his soapbox crying about onesies.
Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. And you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization.
You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with leadership.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Which is yet another example of how our legislative branch has become a joke, not figuratively, but a literal joke, where senators bring memes as visual aids for argument.
What in the hell is this? The chairman tweets, "Protect our ducks and kittens eating pets?" My God.
Which is marginally better than Congress.
And child, listen, I want y'all
I
to
am
tell
no
me
child.
whether or
Do
not
not call me a child. If you want to take it outside.
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not in order.
Order.
Point of order.
And at some level, I appreciate a representative that is willing to scrap on behalf of America.
I will respect the results of the duel.
But back to the main point of using memes politically. Bernie Sanders sobbing over baby onesies isn't the gotcha that he thinks it is. As a health secretary that doesn't mind pissing off the quote, health industry is exactly who we want in power. RFK repeatedly states how much he believes in vaccines. I do too, but absolutely nothing should be above criticism, especially when they recently changed the definition of them just to include one made by Operation Warp Speed that made them billions with a B. And the simple fact that these senators are losing their minds over a baby onesie just shows how desperate they are to clinch that next check from their favorite puppet master, I mean donors. Because their old labels don't work anymore.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me. mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests to me, because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection, when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I could go on for about a week.
So, is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory, or are you in a position?
And again, more attempted gotcha moments that completely backfired because they're using the playbook from 2020. They might have been able to call us conspiracy theorists, but they can't call us wrong.
Yeah.
You want me to answer the question?
No, I'm asking you.
Okay. President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. And I'm
So
in a
is that the
unique
only reason
position.
why you're at HHS?
She challenges him as if that's a bad thing, when that's the only thing he should be doing. But since they got that big pharma cash in their back pocket, their priorities are elsewhere.
No other nation has a chronic disease. We have the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. We had, during COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in a country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We had a higher death count than any country in the world. And when CDC was asked why, they said it's because Americans are the sickest people on earth. The average person who died from COVID, American, had 3.8 chronic diseases.
She's so mad about this. These are just the inconvenient facts about America that absolutely need to be addressed, as how does America simultaneously have one of the richest and sickest people on earth? And regular guys are noticing.
But what does seem to bother me is pasta. Pasta and breads really hit home. They really wreck me. But not in Europe. Went to Italy last summer, had pasta, had pizza, no problem at all. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. explained a lot of it. So did Gary Brecka. He explained a lot of it. One of them is enriched flour, where it contains a bunch of chemicals like folic acid and a bunch of your body has a hard time digesting. It's also, they use heirloom wheat in Italy, and heirloom wheat is the original wheat. What we did was we changed wheat, so because of that, it has more complex glutens, makes it more difficult for your body to process. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 90% of people tested had glyphosate in their system.
Roundup.
Yes,
the stuff
Roundup
you spray
in
to
their
just
blood.
kill everything.
Exactly. And it's illegal in some countries and should be illegal in America.
Now, I haven't had the privilege to travel internationally as an adult, but Joe isn't the only one I've heard talk about eating something simple as carbs being an entirely different experience in America than it is overseas, and we need to figure out why that is. But before RFK's confirmation even concluded, apparently they caught the press already writing their articles, where if you Google search it right now, the top result states RFK struggled to answer the questions. I don't know about you, but it didn't seem like he was struggling to answer anything. But if you didn't even need to watch the hearing to get your opinion, of course you could come to that conclusion. But sadly, these are more of the same games they played during the election, where they found reactions to the presidential debates written before the debates had even taken place. And the more the media writes articles that don't quite match up with the reality that people actually see, the more they lose the public trust to random Asian dudes on YouTube. So if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, as Brett Cooper can make it to 1 million subs without a single upload, so I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. But subscribe and share if you can, then go check out that video on how Trump destroyed the LA mayor so badly, they actually took away her mic.